on two. Ready, break.
Hello and welcome back to Two in the Huddle. My name is David and this is my very good friend Shadi.
Hello.
Shadi, you're in a different city once again. Tell the people where you are. We need to get like an air tag on you so we can keep track.
That's a funny idea. Yeah, I'm back in Berlin now. Just returned yesterday from Liverpool and the Lake District. Back in Berlin now for a wedding of a very good friend, and then off to Poland for the weekend with my family. So okay. Berlin for now.
Yeah, I bet your social battery is drained, I can imagine.
No comment.
Yeah.
But I always like talking about NFL, so that's okay.
Exactly.
How are you doing?
This is easy. Technically, this is you talking to yourself or just to a computer, so it doesn't count the same. Yes, dude, I'm good. It was my birthday weekend. My birthday was on Friday. As you can see, if you follow us on Instagram or TikTok, I posted a picture of the Funko Pop, personalized Funko Pop that my wife got me. Complete with...
Super cool, that one.
Yeah, with microphone and football, just to represent my burgeoning podcast career. But it was good. I went to an episode of SmackDown, WWE, if anyone is still got the mind of a 12-year-old like myself. I had never been live, so it ticked a real big box for young David. 9-year-old David,
Nice.
Mine was blown this weekend. It was great. Had a nice lunch on Saturday, and then Sunday is the fantasy draft that I was able, luckily enough, to attend. So
before we go into that, did you get a belt?
I did get a belt.
WWE?
It's not in front of me right now, but it is. I got the replica. They had a replica, or they had which was €40, or a €700 proper like spectacular replica with a bag and all this kind of jazz. And I could not talk my wife into the €700 one, weirdly enough. So I went with the €40. Lovely hunk of plastic it is. It's class. It now lives as you walk into my house and you look to the right, you see this big shining gold belt that sits there. So yeah, it was €40 very well spent. But it was a good day out. It was a good night out overall. We should go next year. But
before I forget, I mean, you already know it, but I've got a friend who played at Anfield in Liverpool last weekend for some event, and he was kind enough to bring me a little goodie as well here.
Oh, nice.
Of NFC/Lucozade water. Lovely. That's cool, huh? I'm gonna sport this everywhere now.
Yeah, dude, keep it. We
just a shame that it's blue. Just a shame that it's blue, but okay.
It's right. It says LFC. We can colour it. Disclaimer: we are not sponsored by Lucozade, but shout out to Doyle anyway. I think he is. We'll get to that level one day, hopefully.
One day, yeah. But so yesterday you were at the draft, the fantasy draft.
Yes. So Shadi is in a league. If you remember our colleague Lorenz, who we had on, I think a week ago or last week, I can't exactly remember now, who is our fantasy expert, and will be coming on more during the season to talk all things fantasy and give updates to rosters. He is very keen. He is the leader or the runner of a Dynasty league here in Barcelona, but it's got some lads from the UK, lads from Germany, and lads that he goes to uni with over here in Barcelona as well. Shadi, you are actually a member of the league, but you were not in town. I am not technically a part of the league because my dance card is full, but I was able to attend yesterday. So they had their draft at the world famous Belushis. I think we've mentioned that before. If you've ever watched NFL in Europe, 70% chance you probably watched it at a Belushis. And it was nice. They had their own little booth where one of the TVs was allowed to kind of plug the HDMI in, so they had the screen share going on as well. Lorenz had his laptop kind of leading the ceremonies. And there was about 8 or 9 that showed in total out of 12. So I think that was really good to see. The vibe was immaculate. I had a couple of pints as well for a Sunday, so it was good. How was it remotely? I know you were logging in on the screen share.
Yeah, a couple of us logged in remotely. It was funny because we had like kind of our own little draft side conversations going on that you couldn't hear.
Okay.
So we discussed a lot. But I would have loved to be there. I know that people have put in a lot of commitment also. Like, I mean, they flew in from different parts of Europe just for this draft, and I think they made a whole event out of this. They almost had like a bachelor party this weekend, basically.
Yes.
Looked like good fun. Shame that I couldn't be there, but I was here at home.
Yeah.
With my dual monitor setup, all my Excel table spreadsheets open.
Yeah.
Super nerdy. It was fun.
No, good. It's a fun thing to nerd out on. And that's the goal of today as well, by the way. Go on.
No, and I think we're going to show you guys out there also some content on our socials, show you the vibes, how cool a fantasy league can be and the draft can be, and maybe inspire some of you to start playing as well.
Yes, yeah, it's a great shout. Lorenz even made like a Python, coded a quick Python agent just to do the draft order. So it was very well thought through, and very thoughtful as well. So that's the goal of today as well. Today we are going to, I want to say, praise Shadi's draft picks for this NFL fantasy draft. This first round and a couple of the rounds are interesting. So I don't know if praise is always going to be the word that we use, but we're going to talk about his draft. That's the goal of today. Before we jump into it, just a note as well for our millions and millions of fans out there. This is going to be the last podcast for a couple of weeks. We are going to take a little bit of time off in June, as most kind of do in this period of the summer. NFL's not exactly buzzing with loads of news right now. And we've got a couple of travel plans as well that are just going to make it a bit easier for our lives. We are going to keep short content going. So follow us on TikTok, we do YouTube Shorts and Instagram as well. We will be back probably end of June, beginning of July. And we will get back into kind of the preseason, get into some power rankings and then kick on close as the league starts to buzz up. So just want to mention that as well. If you see us missing on the long form short or long form content for a couple of weeks, that's where we are. But without further ado, Shadi, my friend, how do we want to start? Do you want to share the entire board? Maybe just where your first pick was? This was the one that made me go, ooh, when I saw it. So I'm keen to hear your thought process here.
Let's share the entire board. And please, 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 to our millions of followers, be kind to me. This was my first draft ever.
Yeah, the internet and kind doesn't really go together, to be honest.
Exactly. So maybe you can learn from my mistakes. But I had a thought process for almost everything in there. And let's see. So let me just share my draft board. So what you're seeing here is the full draft board of yesterday's draft. The way you read it is from the left to the right. So this is the first pick, and then in the first round. So the first row is the first round. It goes all the way to me. I'm the last picker, basically. And then you go down into the next row and back. So that's what you call a snake draft. The person who picks last gets 2 picks in a row. And I was that person. I think even before going into my pick, Dave, how crazy was the first overall pick? Jamar Chase. No one expected that one.
No, but I mean, it's a good pickup. I mean, he consistently performs. He's a big play guy. He catches touchdowns. He catches a lot of passes over 20 yards. Joe Burrow is going to throw the ball a lot again this season. They seem to be healthy. T. Higgins on the other side. So I think it was a shock, but I don't think it was like a mega shock because I think he still would have gone in the first round. I think.
Absolutely. But Josh Allen is the nailed on number 1 pick in all fantasy drafts usually, from what I've read. Apparently he's always the top scorer. And I think he might have regretted it later because he couldn't pick up any good quarterback later. He has Jordan Love and Jared Goff. Maybe he's not going quarterback heavy. But it messed the expectations for everyone else. Yeah. Like for example, I was talking with Pilsey, the one that you see here on the 4th pickup, and he could get Drake May. And he said in all of his mock drafts that he did, he never could get Drake May because he usually went in the first 3 picks.
That's crazy to me. I wonder why he was so. What's the reasoning between Drake? I went ooh at Drake May because purely as a point scorer, if he has any sort of drop off this season, he's going to be miles away from a top pick. And you think Jahmyr Gibbs, I know Puka, JSN, I don't know.
I agree. I'm also more conservative when it comes to picking in these because I'm not going for upside, let's say, that much in the beginning. Well, in some of them, yes. Yeah, I don't know, but I've seen him very high on many of these mock drafts.
That's interesting.
I'm not 100% sure why. I mean,
maybe they're taking into consideration the AJ Brown thing. Maybe that happens. Maybe. Like, do you get a little bit of a boost?
Think that it's Superflex, which means that quarterbacks are very valuable.
Okay.
So Superflex just means that you can start 2 quarterbacks instead of 1. Yeah. So they are very, very valuable on this one. And he's kind of reliable. I think he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, and in our league, interceptions are punished.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Could be that as well. But okay, enough about that. Let's look into my first pick.
We have to talk before we get to the first pick. There was still a shocker before yours. Yours is a very interesting pick.
You're talking about Caleb Williams or?
No, the one before it. That one.
Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
Okay.
That was another. I sat next to the gentleman who made this pick, and I gave him a
side eye.
Because I think you're playing Dynasty, right? So this is a thing that was going to go on for years on years on years. And you can keep, I think Aaron said you can keep up to 4 players, right, in your league. So there's an incentive not just to draft peak prime top performers right now. It's also an incentive to draft for the future, right? Players who are good but can also be good for the next few years so you can keep them. Jaden Daniels, I guess, ticks that box, but based off the season he had last season, again, for a first round pick, I was a little shook by that pick before we get to yours.
So he's a dual threat, which is a big thing in fantasy. To be fair, in most of the expert consensus ranking, basically, the ECR, what it's called, in most of them, he is in the top 5 of the quarterbacks. It's usually Josh Allen, Drake May, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and Joe Burrow, in that order. So if you go purely by that ranking, I wouldn't say it was a bad pick. I would still have went for proven talent with Lamar Jackson instead of Jaden Daniels there. But if you follow purely the rankings, it actually makes sense. Now, how these rankings get created, I also don't know. I didn't dive that deep. Just to share that this is not coming out of nowhere and was like a super reach in the consensus.
Yeah. No, I'll give it that.
But to be fair, I'm a bit skeptical with Jaden Daniels. I mean, he had that mega rookie season and then he was riddled by injuries for a while. Who knows how he's going to come back? Yeah. And who knows how the Commanders in general are going to play next season. So he's not nailed on to perform well next season.
Yeah, the comeback's important here. But let's get, without further ado, to your first pick. So, Shadi, the first pick of your draft, you selected Jalen Hurts. Talk to me about that.
I mean, I did not expect this reaction. I picked him and I saw everyone's reaction on the screen. I was like, what? Why is everyone so shocked? What's going on here? Maybe I can run you through my strategy a little bit, right? Like what my thought process here was. So before going into this draft, I wanted to eliminate my own opinion almost entirely from the draft because it was my first draft and I wanted to have this as an experiment a little bit of how far can you get without emotions and without your own opinion. Okay. So what I did is I went through the 2025 and 2024 performances of quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs to see a little bit how important these positions are.
Yeah. And
came up with this graph here. Looks cool, huh?
You nerded out like you said you did.
Yes, I nerded out. So this is over 2 years, and this just shows you the points of the different positions groups. So in blue here, you see the quarterbacks, and you can see that there's a big drop-off. So I used this then to create tiers, basically, with the help of AI. And basically, there's a big drop-off after quarterback 1 to 12.
Yep.
Then there's another group of quarterbacks between, I think, 13 to 20 or something like that. And then after that, it almost gives you more value to pick up running backs and wide receivers in the long run.
Yeah.
So I used this, and this is just a visualization to make it easier and understandable for you. But basically, the raw data, I fed it into, again, AI to come up with these tiers. And it basically said, well, it's super flex. You need 2 quarterbacks with your first pick. If any quarterback in the first tier, 1 to 12, is available, you need to go for that quarterback.
Okay.
So I just went to The Athletic, pulled out the fantasy rankings for next season. Very naive, like I didn't do any deep digging. I just took their normal rankings. And in those rankings, Jalen Hurts was the next best available quarterback in the tier 1 to 12. So I went for Jalen Hurts. Literally that. Like no emotion involved, no, I like Jalen Hurts, I like the Eagles or whatever.
Yeah.
Later on, I tried to justify it a little bit because he is reliable, he's a dual threat. He usually gets his points because he gets these push touchdowns. He gets a lot of easy pickups and stuff like that.
True.
That's how I tried to justify it afterwards. But in the draft, I literally just picked based on the order and on my strategy.
No, fair play. And I think a lot of people, the people that struggled yesterday, from what I could see who was there, I think were the ones that were picking without a strategy, like without when it was more just heart than head, because they were the ones that were umming and ahhing. Like you still had Patrick Mahomes on the board at that point. You still had Justin Jefferson on the board at that point. Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence. There was a bunch of names, I think, names that you talk about as well when we talk about players that we like in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you separated it. Are you worried, Janelle, if we take the head away from it and do a little bit of heart thinking? What if Jalen Hurts does lose A.J. Brown? Are you worried about that pick? He doesn't throw the ball deep very much. Mekhi Lemon is a rookie. So there's Devontae Smith and Mekhi Lemon. Do you have any concerns that it could be a bust?
Oh, of course, always. I'm very insecure. I mean, this is my first draft, so I have a concern about all of these. But
yeah. I want to do it again.
Man, I was nervous. No, but no, because I don't think AJ Brown even was an impact last season already. So he's already out of the equation when it comes to that. And I'm very happy with my second quarterback pickup. So I have a good fallback option as well. The Dak Prescott in round 3.
I was surprised Dak lasted so long because if I'm not mistaken, he had a bomb. He had loads of yards last year.
Yes.
He scores a lot of touchdowns. So I didn't look at it from a data standpoint. I'm looking at it more just like probably more of a feelings than anything. But I was shocked that he dropped so far in the list, to be honest with you.
Same, like just to tell you some names that were picked up before him. Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Jackson Dart, Bo Nix. I mean, at least Jackson Dart and Bo Nix. I find that debatable. Like, Bo Nix is still injured, by the way.
Yeah.
So we don't know how he's going to come back from that. Jackson Dart had like half a good rookie season.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott is in that first tier of quarterbacks, the 1 to 12 that I mentioned before. So I was very happy to pick him up there as my second QB. But that's third round. In second round, I also followed my strategy, which is pick up your first QB and then either pick a running back 1 to 4, which is a big tier.
Yep.
Or pick a wide receiver 1 to 7, which is a big tier, according to my calculation thingies.
Your big board.
Exactly, according to my big board. And I was surprised in all my mock drafts, I couldn't get a running back 1 to 4. Mm. And I was basically saying, well, if you can't get the first tier running backs, then just skip it and go straight to a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I was not prepared for that option. Otherwise, maybe I would have gone Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey or James Cook.
Yeah.
But I was not prepared. I didn't realize that running back was an option. I thought people would pick them up earlier. So I went instead for the next best receiver available, and it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was a difficult decision between him and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
I took St. Brown in the end because I think he's younger. So we are Dynasty.
Yeah, true.
I think he's younger. And he's more consistent in his production than CeeDee Lamb, from what I know. So I went for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have no beef with that.
No, me neither. He's also the out-and-out number one on that team, whereas you've got competition on the Cowboys. George Pickens can catch balls. They run the ball a lot in Dallas as well. So maybe you've got the guy that starts and is going to be their main target, their main threat.
And one crazy stat, I've listened to a wide receiver ranking last week, and apparently Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't miss a single game since, 3 seasons or something like this, or 2.5 seasons, which is also great for fantasy.
Yeah, 100%. You won't have to worry about trading him. And it's funny because you look at the first round, there was a good mix of kind of quarterback, receiver, but only a couple of running backs went, right? I think Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs is on top of everybody's list.
That was very surprising.
Yeah, but I think point scorers, like you said, like workhorse point scorers, big play potential. Because I think you get more points for certain amounts of yards that you get to in a sense. And then you can see that second round, it was very much focused on skill positions, receivers and running backs. And even a tight end went to the second round, Trey McBride, which, again, he had a good season last year. I think that is a reach, but there's not another thing we have to talk about there. But it was all running backs and receivers.
Tight end, according to my strategy, shouldn't be picked before round 4. According to my strategy, again, according to the point production thingy that I pulled up.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of tight end reaches Trey McBride in round 2 and Brock Bowers in round 3 already.
Yeah.
I had a tight end reach as well, but we're going to talk about that in a bit.
Yes, but you had to get one Browns. You had to get
one Browns.
One home team player in there. Plus, Deshaun Watson's coming back. I'm telling you, he may be morally inept, but the man's going to have a good season. I bet you.
And he doesn't have any receivers to throw to, so he might as well just dump it off to the tight end. Yeah. But let's get to that in a second. Maybe we continue with round 4.
Yeah.
Because that one was, for me, one of the most difficult decisions. So I was on the clock, and I wanted a receiver. Because, again, like the running backs, the first tier running backs were not available anymore. And according to my strategy, the second tier running backs could wait because with running backs, you have a big volume towards the end. And the difference between tier 2 and tier 3 is not that high. So I was happy to wait on that one. Let's see if that works out or not. But so I wanted to go for a receiver, and both Olave and AJ Brown were still available. And I was struggling with that decision. I think I've let the clock almost run out with that decision. And I went for Chris Olave for the upside. What do you think, Dave?
I like it because I like Tyler Shaw, and I think that he's going to air the ball out a lot this year. I also like the Jordan Tyson pickup for them because now you have to guard 2 people. I think before it was Chris Olave was their only target. That was a bit of their downside. But he still manages to get open. So actually, I really like that pick, not just for now, but I think if him and Tyler Shock have another step-up year or like go in that right direction, I think dynastically speaking, which is, I don't know if that's a bloody word, it also makes sense from that standpoint. So this one I liked. I think it's good value in the 4th round as well. I think you and Dak and Olave, for me, were like really good value picks. I know there was only 3rd and 4th round so far, but I really liked both of those.
Nice, that makes me feel good. Couple of other receivers that were available at that point, Tatora McMillan, Led McConkey, Emeka Ekbuka, that I know some people were really high on before the draft.
That's a good pick.
And T. Higgins, that is also a very consistent producer of points. Yeah. So, yeah. Until here, happy. But then I start realizing, okay, I need to go for running backs now. And this is where it starts to become a bit messy.
Yeah.
Maybe I panicked a little bit. So round 5, almost all the top 20 running backs are gone, I think, at that point. So the depth is not anymore that available. You still have, let me tell you some names that were still available at that point. Jadarian Price, the new running back for the Seahawks.
Yep.
David Montgomery for the Texans. Quinion Judkins for the Browns was a good running back. Cam Scatterbo was still available. So I wanted to have Breece Hall at this point, but he was just picked just before me. So I couldn't get him. Breece Hall is so you're looking for running backs that can also be pass catchers, and Breece Hall is that for the Jets, and he's their main man. So I really like him for fantasy for next season. Maybe I trade for him. Let's see if we can also do trades. But so I picked up Kyron Williams from the Rams just for lack of other options, really. That's it. Not much to say here. And then I was on the clock for basically round 5 for me was where, according to my strategy, I could go for a tight end if a top 4, top 5 tight end in the tier list is still available. Was Courtson Loveland from the Bears was still available. Tyler Warren from the Colts was still available. These two should have been my picks. But that's the first time in the draft where I let emotion overrule my decision making, and I went for Harold Fannin from the Browns. Just because I said this is probably the only Browns player that I can realistically have that can produce, and I want to have a Browns player on my team. Yeah. And in the rankings, he was just below Loveland and Warren. So I said, okay, let's go. Let's go Harold Fannin, let's go Browns.
He had a great rookie season, though. Was he rookie last year?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think
he had a good season, but it's one of those, a lot of things have to go right for this to work, right?
This is what I think about the rest of your drafts. If I say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even up to round 6, I'd give you. Kyron Williams is on a good team, so he's probably going to get some good goal line touchdowns. I think our friend who's hopefully will be on the channel one day, you never know, Aaron, picked before you, and I talked him into Travis Etienne, or Etienne, however you say his name. So he probably would have been a better pickup. So I apologize for that. Yes. But he was curious. I think up to pick 6, I give you solid picks. Definitely some things to work with. I think everything under that, and maybe this is how normal drafts should go. You need a lot of what ifs. Like players have had good seasons here and there, or players that are right on the cusp. So I'll just pick 6. I think is where it gets a little bit in a more of a situation of luck. Some players have had one season good here or there, or maybe they need a lot of things to go right. But this is where most drafts tend to that I've witnessed or been in the past. It tends to be a bit more of a crapshoot. Picks either go really quick after round 6 or really slow. People are either 100% like, oh, fuck it, best player available, click. Or they're taking ages because they're sifting through every single player that's still left and struggling to make a pick. So
they took ages. Ages.
Yeah, post round 6 is tough. But I mean, there's a couple of good value picks in there for sure. So I think you still did well overall.
Thank you. I mean, the one that I'm really not happy with is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
As my second running back. Because he's not going to be the main running back for the Patriots. I should have gone here for someone like Swift from the Bears, because he's going to have more production probably. He was still available.
That would have been a good pick.
Yeah, that's the one where I'm a bit not so happy. Because at this point, you're still looking for running backs that maybe are not the top class running backs, but that are consistently starting for their team.
Yes. Yeah.
And Ramondre Stevenson is not that.
Yeah. I'm surprised Swift lasted that long as well, to be fair, actually.
I think there was some question marks because of Monangai taking more load, but Swift still produces.
I think Monangai was the goal line back, right? So I think he takes the touchdowns away. Maybe that's a big part. It's a big part of the scoring that you're going to lose.
Yeah, but Monanga actually went after Swift, so both were still available, and it's also not the worst to have both from the same team.
Yeah.
In your team, but I couldn't get them, or I made the wrong decision. I went for Stevenson again. Maybe I tried to trade him away or something, or maybe he surprises me. Let's see. Yeah. I'm a bit more happy with Chuba Hubbard. I see him as a bit of a value pick there on as another running back who just is a consistent performer, really.
Yep. And now no Rico Dowdle in Carolina either, so he's probably going to be the premier guy.
Exactly. I'm happy with that one. Christian Watson is a bit meh. Like you said, right, you just pick up skill players towards the end of... That was my strategy, basically. The later rounds, you just pick up skill players where you can. I think I made a double pick in the later rounds that I'm really happy with, in round 13 and 14 of 19 rounds, where I went for Jaden Coker and Downs. What's his first name? Do you know?
Josh
Downs.
Yeah.
From the Colts, where a lot of people said that those two picks were really good, basically, because they're both high upside players.
That's Caleb Downs' brother, I think, by the way.
Oh, is it, yeah?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I'm going to Google it while you're talking, but I'm pretty sure that they're brothers.
Cool. Maybe a couple of other things worth mentioning, just in general, over the theme of the draft, or a couple of funny moments that happened in the draft. Someone really wanted Cam Scatterboo. Pilsy here, this guy here in the fourth column. He really wanted Cam Scatterboo. He even had the shirt on. The Giants shirt with the number 44 and everything. He really wanted him, and the guy that drafted just before him took him away just to mess with him.
There's always a good thing about that in the drafts. I also saw you picked up the Ravens defense as well. The defense is always an important pick. I think that was quite a good pick for. I mean, by that point, a lot of defenses had already gone.
Yeah.
I don't think getting left with the Ravens, picking up Trey Hendrickson is actually a bad call. I'm surprised they lasted that long, but again, it depends on how they scored. But I've seen the Rams have gone, the defense of the Broncos went a lot higher. So people definitely picked them 3 or 4 rounds after, before you did. Texans went first, I see.
People started, so this is, actually I wanted to talk about that next, because sometimes in these drafts, one person can set the speed or the tone.
Yes.
And someone ran really early on the Texans defense just to mess with people's heads.
Yeah.
And so people started panicking a bit and went way too early for defenses, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this person that started it all, you never do that really, but he took both the Texans and the Broncos defense just to mess with people, because he wanted people to mess with people a little bit. Exactly. But according to my strategy, it was basically saying, if you can't get the top 3 defenses, then just ignore defense for now.
Yeah.
Because the difference after that is not that high, basically. If you're going to get the number 4 defense or the number 15 defense, according to the statistics, it's not that high. So I said, okay, I'm going to wait it out and see what's available at the end. But that was a funny storyline. He really went for Texans and Broncos, and then everyone else was just, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
I think he just went for, maybe he's going for trade bait.
He will. He does.
Yeah, he's going to want to trade them away.
He does, yeah. Because Texans and Broncos have been the best defenses for the last few seasons. I think Seahawks were highest last season, but let's see if they can repeat that with how many players left.
Yeah, literally 3 players on defense at the minute.
Yeah. So I'm happy. Ravens was not the high performer last season, but they had a lot of injuries as well. Now they added Trey Hendrickson, and I've got them on a very late, like basically the second to last round. So I'm happy.
Yeah, you nailed him. And your Mr. Irrelevant, Chris Boswell, just never ending in age kicker. I know a couple of kickers went a little bit high. I think Brandon Aubrey went in that same round that the Texans defense went. I think he was the highest kicker. Him and Cam Little are always going to be there. But Lorenz was telling me the scoring for kickers. Sometimes they're OP.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
In some leagues, you can, if you get the right kicker, because they score a lot of points. Many of the top point scorers in NFL history are kickers. Because they just a lot of extra points, a lot of field goals. They have 20, 30 odd year careers, not 30 maybe, but 20 odd year careers. You're going to be around a long time. But I think they toned down kicker a little bit this year. But again, I think you got a quality one there in Boswell. So how do you feel then? So now you've got your first real draft in, and now you'll have years to build on this squad that you've built. What are your feelings on these drafts?
They're stressful, but really fun. Next year, I'm going to include my own opinion a little bit more. This year was really just an experiment, see how far you can go.
Yeah.
For me, it sucks that there's so much time between now and when the league actually starts, because I want to see my team in action now, and it's just so much time. For like the one that I'm, for example, the most excited about, or the two things I'm the most excited to see are, I went for Beck, the quarterback from the Cardinals, in a very late pickup.
Okay, yeah, Carson Beck, yeah.
Because the Jacoby Brissett contract situation is still not resolved, so they might start their rookie quarterback. So that one I really want to see if it turns out well or not. And then I went for Tyreek Hill on a low value, on a lower round as well.
Nice.
Before reading that his injury is apparently really, really bad. So
The guy's got like one leg.
and he's still not picked up by any team, so not sure how I feel about that. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see them in action.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to mention. I think there's even someone in here that did not pick any kicker at all. So he will have to trade. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Sören. He didn't pick any kicker at all.
Fair play. People have always got this strategy. Maybe he just doesn't think it's worth it, or he's going to have to pick one up in free agency or something like that. But yeah, stressful, I think. And you know what's also going to be really helpful next year? I think we've mentioned this before. We watched a lot of Red Zone in the past and last year. So I think we've seen highlight plays from highlight players, but it's easier to find like your sleepers or, kind of Lorenz was talking about, your undervalued picks in a draft when you watch more film, right? And I think this year when we kind of have a couple of games that we're going to watch head to toe each, I think we're going to get a little bit more game film. So when you come to this next year, you'll have, yes, your strategy, yes, your numbers, but you'll also have that personal feeling. Oh, I watched this guy. I know what he looks like, right? Especially the rookies going into year 2. I think that's going to be really helpful. So
yes,
overall, I think he did really well. And again, shout out to Lorenz and the team because it was really set up in a really nice way. I think it's always more fun when these things are done in a nice, organized manner. And shout out to everyone who flew in just to be a part of it. It was lovely to be invited, so thank you for that as well. But yeah, well done, Shads. I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on. And hopefully we'll give more regular updates throughout the year on how Shadi's team does. Like I said, we're going to have Lorenz come on and do fantasy updates throughout the year. So we'll give flash updates of the league and how it's going, and we'll share them on socials as well so you can keep track. And if you've got your fantasy draft coming up soon or you've just had it, let us know in the comments who you're picking up. I'd love to see how you do your draft order as well, because I saw some crazy videos of, and maybe next year we'll do some beach games to see who gets to pick first and then who picks last.
Yeah.
I think there's always fun to add some gamification to it all,
Yes. And one thing I would like to hear from you guys out there, if there are any experts or people who think they are experts, if you have suggestions on who I can trade or good trade offers I should make, let me know. Because I would be open to trading here, but I have no idea how to approach this, to be honest. So if you have any advice, guys, please reach out in the comments.
Let us know. The trading out's the fun part starts. But cool, really good stuff. Really, like I said, really nice to be a part of it, and I'm glad it went well. Just to remind again and refresh, if you've made it this far, we appreciate you. But also that we will have a little pause on the podcast for just a few weeks, just to get through June. Have a bit of a summer vacation for ourselves, a little bit of traveling done as well. We will keep posting on the short content, so like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, on Instagram as well, and we'll do a little bit of YouTube shorting as well. But we will be back in probably last week of June or first week of July, refreshed and ready to go with some brand new content for you all. So we appreciate the support and love so far. I think we're maybe four odd months into this journey, maybe 5 months in, and I think we've learnt a lot so far, and we had some things we liked, some things that didn't go so well, and we're going to keep reiterating until we feel we're in a really good spot. So Shadi, I appreciate you and all your effort, and I appreciate everyone who's given us a view.
Thank you.
Cool. Have a good day, dude. Talk to you soon.